Hey and welcome. Do you want to learn how to hack a web application or how to secure your web application from hackers? If yes, you come to right place. I'm Hussein Rubai. I have a master in software engineering and currently I'm a PhD student in Rochester Institute of Technology in North New York. Also, I'm a full-time software engineer at Xerox and I have experienced more than 10 years in web applications and I have Microsoft MVP for 2017. This course is designed for three types of peoples. If you are a hacker and you want to store information, there is many exercises in this course teaching you how to be a good hacker and how to hack a web application. If you are a tester and you want to find vulnerability in your software, this will be a really good course for you to teach you different practices to find vulnerability in web applications. If you are a developer, this course will also be really good for you because it will show you how to do the attack and also how to avoid it using the code or how to update your code to avoid this type of attacks. So if you are one of these three types of people, this code will be really good for you to help you to secure your web application or attack a web application. In this course, we will learn a lot. We'll start learning how to gather information about our target, such as scan the HTML, look for specific informations, such as username and password or anything. Then we will learn how to bypass the restriction and validation that developer put it in the client side and submit missing information to the server. Also, we will learn how to do query string attacks, such as transfer balance from one account to another. Then we will learn how to access to the cookies and how to update the cookies to play with the accounts. Then we will learn how to access to the hidden value and how to update them and try to do different identity. Then we will learn how to use URL jumping between one page and another page in the server. Then how to do session to solve this problem. Then we will talk about session hijacking. That's mean there is a user have a specific session, we stole his session and we try to access to the server using his sessions. It will be really interesting example. Then we will learn XSS attack, such as like how to insert ads in the page, also how to store information of the user, such as session information for that user. Also, we will learn about SQL injections and how to inject data in a SQL database or log into the server without having any permission or drop table or so on. Also, we'll learn directory retrievals and how we could go from one folder to another in the server without permission, then how to protect ourselves from that. Then we will learn what's denial of service mean and how we could avoid it. Also, we will learn about fingerprinting of the server and more. So what are you waiting for? Let's get started and learn a lot about the security in web apps. Hey again, I will talk in this video about client-server communication concept in web application. So when you open your browser, you are a client, whatever browser you open, if it is Firefox, Chrome, Safari, IE or Edge, all of them are browsers. When you request any website like a Facebook, you are sending a request to server. And the server over the sea try to handle your request and send you the result back as HTML and JavaScript and CSS, because your browser only able to understand these languages. When your browser get this data, the browser will represent this data to you. Like if you get tagged as an image with URL, it will show you the image in the browser. So this is the very basic concept of the client-server communication. This type of communication name it is stateless. Why? Because the HTTP in the server never know what the client doing. So when you send him request, he send you the response back, but he don't know what he will do with this response. He cannot control you. And this place the hacker try to play the game. They try to attack the client side. There is few type of attacks that we will discuss about the server side in this tutorial. But most of the attacks that we will discuss in this tutorial will be about the client sides. How the hackers try to attack the client side application and try to play with the data and send it to the server in such a way that they steal authentication or do SQL injection, XSS attack, and more process. They do it when they get the data from the server. So I want to study this client-server communication in more details. We suppose we have a client and server, and the client, if we assume we have Internet Explorer, we type this page host/index.php. What that means? That means you are sending request for the server. The server, name it for example Apache, and this Apache that is located in the over the sea, and let's name it host. Host does mean any place in the world. We don't know where it's located, but we know there is a server. We name it host. And we said Apache because the page ends by .php. If it ends by ASP, we will say the server is IIS. We will discuss this in detail. There's different type of servers. So in this case, what we said to the server, when we said host/index, that means say, hey server, where is page name it index.php? What the Apache try to look in the server hard disk for the index.php. If it find it, it will process it. If not, the server will say as a result back. Okay, I mean say, hey, this page is not found. So when he look for the page, when he find it, he try to process that page. If it have JavaScript, PHP, like server-side code, like PHP, C#, whatever, try to process that code. If there is a communication with the database, read, write, or whatever, try to do it. When he complete all the server-side code, when all the server-side run, I mean the PHP code or the C# code, when he done, he try to send us the result back as HTML only. So all what it will send us is the HTML, JavaScript, CSS, because our browser only able to understand CSS, HTML, JavaScript. We will discuss this in detail. So I'm sure you know about this already. So when we get these results, the browser try to change the HTML tags to present them. So if you get a tag as an image, he will show you the image. So you will see that image. So if you look through this graph, there is some code that run only on the server side, which is PHP. The client never see this code. But there's a code that go to the client side, such as HTML, JavaScript, CSS. And here where the hacker could play the game. Just remember this concept really, really well. There's a code client could play with, which is the client side code. And there is code the client cannot play with, which is server side code. So the server side, consider here a PHP, client side here is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. As we say, this type of communication is stateless because the server never know what the heck the client could do when he get the page. So when the client requests the page, the server send the page to the client, the page has no control, or the server has no control on that page. We will try to study some practices how to server could make control on this page, like doing tokens or doing sessions or more. So, but just the idea behind this video, just remember how the client server communicate and what's the code run in the client side and what the code run in the server side and how we send a request to the server and how we get the response back from the server. Here we done and see you next. Hey again. In this video, I want to discuss 3 opposing goals that discussed by How to Break Web Software book that written by Mike and James. So the 3 opposing goals is the reliability, performance, and usability. So let's get started or talk in details about everyone. Reliability mean we make the code, the developer need to write more code. He tried to the developer will handle more error in more details. So that means more code will be written. More code will be written. There is more possibility of having more bugs. But this is not the real thing that we are worried from. The real thing that we worry from is catching more errors. It will be, when the developer try to catch more errors, it will be very hard for the tester to find all these caches in the test times. That give opportunity for the hacker to try to find all possible errors that our system catch and try to get more information about our system. And this is so bad. We should not allow the hacker to know a lot about our system. We should most of the time we try to hide or system details from the hacker, so he will not get benefit from. So you have to balance this when you try to make your code reliable. Make sure when you handle the test or when you handle the errors in such a way it could be tested. The second one is the performance. When we try to make our server fast, we try to push more code or more functions in the server side, in the client side, and keep the server with a few functions. Why? Because all the processing will happen in the client side. When he sent only one request, for example, we try give him data and he try to process it. For example, mathematical calculation, we do it in the JavaScript side. Instead, we do it in the server side. So we make the communication fast. But pushing more code in the client side, that means we give a more opportunity for attacker to find holes in our system. So we know the client side code is easily could be viewed by the attacker. You could easily look through the HTML or CSS or JavaScript code in the browser by just clicking a view source. So we don't want to allow to attacker to see like what we do or how we communicate. Oh, there is some communication we don't care about, but there is some type of communication we really care about. So when you think about performance, we think of pushing the more code in the client side, think about this point. The third one is the usability. Usability means you provide more information for the user who use our system to make the system as easy as possible. But we have to remember, giving more information to hacker, giving more information about the system will give more helpful information to the attacker. So we need to balance between usability and what's the information we want to share and what's the information we should not share. For example, we should not, when someone sends us a request, we should not say, hey, when someone tries to log in with the username and password wrong, or username correct and the password is wrong, we should not say them back, hey, the username is correct but the password is wrong. This is so bad because if the attacker could say, okay, I have correct username, I will try only change the password. So we reduce the possibilities. So this is you have to think about. When you think about usability, you should think about how hackers could play around this game. So this is the 3 opposing goals. Always remember: the reliability, performance, and usability. Thank you for watching and see you next. So what you need to know to start with this course. As we say, there is 3 types of people could take this course. If you are a hacker or you are a tester, you don't need to have any programming experience. All what you need to learn how to run the attack and how to do it, because you are just a tester. You try to find the vulnerabilities. If you are a software developer, you need to have some experience in the server side and the client side. In the server side, you need to know any programming languages in the server that runs the server side. We prefer to use PHP because this is what we will use it in this exercise to solve or to fix the security issue. And on the client side, you need to know HTML and JavaScript because these 2 languages, we will use them to perform the attacks. So this all what require from you. So again, if you are a developer, make sure you have a little bit understanding about web development. If you are a tester or you are a hacker, you don't need to have a program experience. Don't watch the videos that related to the writing code. Just watch the videos that related how to apply the attack. So here we done. Thank you for watching and see you next. Hey again. In this video, I will talk about pause and get in details. If you already know these, just go to the next video. If you don't know, I will discuss in details how pause and get works and how the data sends using a PHP or something like that. So to get started with pause and get, I will open a new tab and I make sure click right and I click inspect and I go to the network tab. Okay, that's good. So when I go open my browser, I say google.com and I click enter, I send a get request to Google server. If you see, this is all the things that happen in my get request. What I'm interested in is this one, which the one have 200. If I click on it, you see I request this URL and the method I did is get. I send get request to Google server and they send me this data back. Okay, and this 200, that means the connection was okay, and this is the information about the server. So this type of anything I type it here and I click enter, That means I'm doing get request. When I go to here and I say bootstrap whatever for example, then I click search. What I do here a post request. So if I go here to in the top, hopefully this one, yeah, this one. If I click here on that request, I will see I sent to Google request and I did post request to Google server and whatever. This is all the data for the post. So to understand this example in details for the post and get, I will use a basic form. If you go here to SWA that we have it for this course, there's a page name it index. Index page, very basic page. This have some header, it requests some bootstrap thing, just make the page nice, and it have a form. This is what we are care about. The form has two fields. One of them was input type email, and the ID is email and the name, and the other input is a password and the ID is pwd, and this is check if you want to remember or not, and this is submit. If I just browse this page, so for sure I should go SWA index.php. That's I will not talk about how we set this server about PHP server. You should know already how to set up PHP server, so I will expect you already have it set up, PHP, ASP, whatever. Then you request that page. So you see this is the basic page. So if I just click inspect again and I look through the console, sorry, not console, to the network, and I request the page again. So if I see here, there is many requests going to the server beside my request, because there's a bootstrap request. You know that I have some headers for bootstraps, so there's a bootstraps. What I'm care about the request for the index. So if I click on it, you look to it here in this way. Let me just make it bigger. So there's a request went to this server, which is my local server. So as a get request, the port 80, and this is some details about the get request that I send it. So if I just send some data to the server with my request, I click this sign, I say name or call Hussein. Just for example, I click enter. That's mean, and if I just click on the request, I would see this is my request URL. I send name or call Hussein. And this is the query string parameter. The query string parameter, I send only one parameter, which is name or call Hussein. I could send more. I could say and password equal 1 2 3 4, enter. So now in this case, if I click the request, I would see the name equal Hussein and password 1 2 3 4. And the server side, to read this data, I could add here a PHP code. I would say a PHP, and this PHP code just echo whatever been in the whatever I have it in the get. So I display everything I have it in the get. So if I just call same page again, I would expect I have array here, because the post is array. So I make sure I say print R for the get. So I'll make sure print the array. So now if I request the page again, you see like what is sent is array, and have a name called Hussein, because I said name called Hussein, and it have a password equal 1 2 3 4. So the server was able to get whatever I have it in my get request. So I could say, for example, whatever I want to do with this information. This is the server side. So on the server side, I just want to print all the information. Or maybe I just want to print only the name that sent it. So I could just say, okay, get, please print to me whatever you have it in the name only. And I could do it in this way, name or cool. So when this is name, there's a request name, send it to the server. I no longer need to print R anymore, because I'm getting only the name. So I print the name. So if I click enter now, I should see the name equal Hussein. Now I no longer need the password, I'm sending only the name. So name equal Hussein. This is get request, name equal Jenna, I send the name as a request to the server. So that's mean in my HTML page, if you see inspect, I just have simple HTML, same one that I have in the server, and this is what get printed. If I don't send anything, the name will be nothing because there is nothing sent to the server. This is what we name it, is the get request, that hey, I'm sending something to the server and ask server for information. There is another request which is post. So if I just say again same thing here, but instead print r for name, I say print r for post. Okay, post. So whatever you have in the post. So if I just click enter, I don't have anything now because I'm not posting anything to the server. But if I say my email is nethenewbag@gmail and 12345, this is my password, and I click submit, that means I did send something to the server. But here I have something, the URL, my URL have some problem here. My form action, I just could say index without colon, so my request will go correctly to the server. So now if I just have this page, I just refresh this page, and I say okay, this is the email and the password 12345. I click submit, that means I send a post request to the server. If I just go to the network, I should see that post. If I click here, this is most important part you should focus on. So if you see here what we send, I send email, then you back that password 1234. How that happen? If you just go to the code, any input field will be sent to the server when you click submit. When you click submit in any form, and the form has action to go to specific, have action to do. So what the submit do will send any field you have it with the name and value, whatever name, email, and whatever the value you have it. Whatever the value I have it here, the new Baghdad, he sent me name, the new Baghdad. Same thing for the second field, which is the input field, which is the password. The name is PWD and the password was 1234. The server send them, or the post request send them to the server, so the server should be able to read this information. So now still I'm getting this, but just wait a second. I see what I have, printer, whatever you have it in post, just wait. So now if I just try to, if I just go back here and I remove name, what will be sent to the server when I click enter? Let me just make sure, load the page again, and I say name, whatever password I put, click submit. If I just go to this request, I see only the email sent it. He did not send the password. Even the password is input field because it doesn't have a name. So the form will go iterate through all the input field have in the form and make sure if the field have a name, it will get the name and the value and send it to the server. If the input field doesn't have a name, it will send you. It will not send it. It will not consider it as a submit in the submit part. So name value will go to the server as you see. In the server, we just want to print this. I say echo print anything you have in the post, but this one doesn't work for some reasons. Post. So post now should tell you whatever he have. I'm not gonna interesting in this one. So if I say whatever, well, I'm not getting anything here, an example, but it's better to read the value, whatever I send, email. Let me see whatever echo, the email will be whatever you have it in post as an email, and the password I need to print whatever I have it in the post as a password. So I'm getting whatever I have in the request as a post as email and the post as a password. So now if I just click enter the email and password, there is nothing. But now if I send some email 1234, click enter, I should see. Oh, okay. I don't see anything in the server. Why? if server should be able to get this post thing, because I'm posting, so post, because here the form I didn't add the type is post, so I didn't say the method type is post, because I did mention post. He wasn't able to read anything. So if I just go now again, this is simple JavaScript or JavaScript issue. So now if I just send it 1 2 3 4, click enter, I should be able to read the email and the password. If I want just read all of them one time, I could do what I did in a few seconds ago. I say print or post anything in the post. So now anything in the post, there is nothing. But if I just try to pass something, I click submit, the server should be able now, hey, there is an email, this is the email, and there is a password, this is a password, and I could read this element from the array as you see. So what I wanted to get from this video, just how to do post and get, and you understand how we could track them here in the network, and how to read the request value by saying add get, and read the post value and saying add post. So here we're done. Thank you for watching and see you next. Again, I want to talk in this video the difference between the cookies and the sessions, and you have to really well understand it. So when you open your browser, let me suppose there's a client named Joe. He opened a browser and he sent request to the server, and the server name host.com. What the server will do, it will create session file, start with ses underscore, then random number for that user. And it will send that session ID or that file name as a variable named PHP session ID with that same number to the client. What the client will do, will save this ID in the cookie file. The cookie file will be named exactly like the name of the host. If host.com will be host.com, and it will save that variable as PHP session ID. Whatever he get, it will be saved here. So with the file that here with the PHP session ID will be saved here as a cookie. Now when another request going from Joe to the server, let's suppose Joe want to set the username with Hussein, what we'll do to automatically all the cookies that associated with this website will be sent over HTTP to the server. And the server will start looking for PHP session ID, say, okay, this PHP session ID, I have a file for it. Okay, I have that user. I will save a username Hussein here. So when I said username, it will save it here in this file in the server. And it will tell him, hey, okay, the file is saved. When another request going from Joe to the server asking for the username, well, it's exactly happens same thing. All the cookies that associated with this server, because it have same file name, name it host.com, it will be sent over HTTP. The server look for that variable named PHP session ID, which is this name. He say, okay, I have this file. I have in that file variable name, it username, I call Hussein. Okay, I know Hussein. This is the name. This is the value is Hussein. Take it. So what you need to know is you could save as much as sessions here, and you could save as much as cookies here as a key value. What you need to know here, the cookies you have access to it because it's in your browser, and you will see how we access to it. And the sessions, it's in the server. You cannot access to it unless you are able to attack the server. So this is two different files, one in the server, one in the client. So let me clean this very well so it will be easy to understand. Okay, to prove the concept, I will have this website, hi.robai.net, have PHP 7 version. And if I go to the sessions, I see some information about the sessions, like the session will be saved in this path in the server, and so on. So if I go to the first page, which is the login page, before I click on the login, I want to open the inspect, then I could now go to the login. Okay, so login, I should see the login page. So if I go to the network, then the page name, I would see there is a request coming from the server sending me a session ID with this number and save it in my machine. But let me start step by step. Let me check first, is this file available in the server? I have a way to check that. I will share with you the script in a second. This list sessions, the basic script I wrote, it show you all the sessions in the server with all the value. So if I look for that one, yeah, I see there's a file created in the server have this number, exactly what we said in the beginning, and save it in the server. Now the server, when it creates that file, send me that value as a named variable PHP session and send it to me to the browser. Now if I go to my browser, I go to the setting, I see in my cookies, so I look for cookies and content, cookies, the website. We said it will create exactly like a name of the website we have it. So the website is ha.arroway, this guy. If you see here, look, I see, yes, he create a variable named PHP in my cookies with this name. So this is a proof the concept that we said. First request go to the server will create file, we see that file in the server, and the server send us that one in the HTTP response, we see it, and we see the client to create this file in the browser with this value. That's good. Now think about when I log in, I should send the username saved in the sessions. So I would assume if I just click here, I said I log in with admin and password admin. You don't need to read now the content. If I click login, there is a session should be created in the server. Now if I go in the server, search for the same cookie or for the same session, I see this session have a username called admin in the server, but in the client side I can't see this thing. So if I go to the client, this page I have only PHP session ID. I don't see anything associated with the PHP session ID. Why? Because the username is saved in the server. We said we cleaned from the beginning. All the sessions will be saved in the server. Nothing from the session will save in the client. Only the cookies will be saved in the client. Only the one thing will be available to the client is PHP session ID. Otherwise, if there is a cookie, okay, it will see the cookies, but if sessions, it will not able to see the session, just see the cookies. Okay, now you understand how that happened. I just want to show you the basic script that I wrote. The script is really easy, just to read the session from the server. Just get sessions, just get that directory, get all the files of that directory, iterate through the files, and try to show you the file name and read the content of the file. So in our case, it will go to this folder in the server. So the idea behind this line to return to us this folder, and this folder have many files, so we need to iterate through these files. So what this guy will do, just iterate through this file and read all the file and the content and show it to you. So this is script. If you are able to put this script in the server, in any server, you will be able to install all the sessions associated with that server. If you install the sessions, that means you could install any account in the server. So anyone logging in that server, you will be able to access to his account. You will see session hijacking later on. So see how it is. For the cookies, now you understand the cookies. Cookies, we will learn about cookies and we'll learn how to save cookies. But in the session, you see, like, we saved only one variable. If I want to share with you that variable, this one, session name, it username, and he easily was able to see it in the server. But remember, sessions, something it's saved in the server. Cookies, something saved in the client. Cookies, something you will be able to access to, because in your browser, sessions you will not able to access to unless you are able to attack that server. Only thing you will be able to access to is PHP session ID, that you will use it later on for session hijacking to install complete identity. Here we done. Thank you for watching. See you next. Hey again. Well, let me talk in this video about the first type of attack, which is gathering information on the target. So in this attack, what we mean by gathering information about the target, that means we try to collect as much as information we could about the target, such as comment that embedded in the HTML that developer did by mistakes, sensitive information in the HTML, we could get it because HTML on the client side, we could read the information from it. Server side error messages, like when we send a request to the server and see whatever the error message that we get it, maybe we could get useful information, such as if we send him username and password and say, hey, the server response, hey, username is correct, password is not, that means you could get some information, hey, my username is correct, now let me just try different password. And application error messages as something, another like type of messages that we use from the applications. So this is like how we could collect the information. In this exercise, we will try to use the embedded comment in the HTML source or sensitive information HTML source. So if I go to my website, I go to login.php, I see this login page. I try to see if I could get good information from the HTML source. I click right and I say view HTML source. I read, look for comments. Mostly people, we do this way. We say Control F, then we look for this sign. Like open a bracket, this sign, then colons. So this comment, global, I don't care about it. Second one, this is also I don't care about it. This one I care about it. He say, oh, I found the information. Developer for testing, he add this comment. Say, hey, to test, you could use username as admin and password as admin. He used it for the testing. Now if I go here and try username admin and the password admin, if I be able to log in. Yes, I was able to log in. That's great. This is some details. We use it just for teaching. So now if I click my activities, I could see whatever the activities that the admin did. Admin sent money from him to Jenna, 100, from him to Leia, 500. So did you see like how he was able to collect sensitive information from the HTML? So what you need to know and what you have to do now. You should not include any sensitive information in the client side. And we will go on details how this information is being passed to the client and how we protect it. So first of all, let you understand what we did. If I just go and have a login page, login.php, that means there is a page here, name it login. And this page is a very easy page. It have a header, have a form for login, I require username and password and submit button. And this is data I added for testing, help me to test my system with the username and admin, password, admin. And because I added this sign, that means this is client side comment. The client could see it. For that reason, the client was able to see it. I should solve this problem by moving this to the server. This is the database connection to the database. So if you go here, you see file for the database, have some information, create database user, create table, login, have a username and password and ID. I added 3 users, which is admin, Jenna 111, Leia 41234. Activities for the admin, add transactions from to and the amount I want to translate. And I added this trigger for now to trigger whenever any activity added here. I will try to add unique transaction key for it. So if I add also 4 transactions from admin to Jenna, from admin to Leia, from Jenna to admin 800, from Jenna to Leia 600. So what I will do, I will just want to create the database. I will just copy this code until line 3-4 and just go to the terminal. So on the terminal I say MySQL. I will assume you already have MySQL /user root /password. Okay. 1 2 3 4 5. This is my password for my database. I'll just copy paste so I will see what I had. So if you look through this, I create table, name it login, have a username, password and a unique ID for every row. I create another I added 3 users, admin, password admin, Jenna, password 1, Leia, password 1 2 3 4. And I create another table which activities. You see have a transaction key from to an amount, and I added this rows for transactions, and this is the data that I have. See, every transactions have a unique key for it and a unique token from admin to Jenna, admin to Leia, whatever. So this is just how to create it. So now we create the database. If you go here, you check whatever posted username and password, send it to the server try to connect the database, try to find username and password. If he was able, he will get that username and he will give you the information. If he was able, he show you this activities that you see a few seconds ago, my activities. He give you a link to the activity page and he pass the username to that page and else whatever. So now if you say like if I try to log in with admin, password admin, I click login, he show me my activity, I click, I could go here, I see things, you see he passed my name as admin. And also same thing if I try to log in with the Jenna, I think Jenna has 1 2 3 4 4 ones. Yes, so he say you log in with Jenna. If I go to activity, this is the process that Jenna did. Hey again, let me talk in this video about how to solve the problem of HTML informations. So the solution for the problem is really easy. Just make sure you don't pass any sensitive comment to the client side. Don't add any comments or meaningful comments in the HTML or meaningful comment in JavaScript. And that is, if you still have a comment in HTML and I want to keep it, make sure it run in the server side. I will show you how. So if I just go here, this is my login page. I will try to create a copy from this login page. So I will save it as, I will name it login 1. Okay, just another copy from it. So now if I just go here, login 1 is still same login, there is no different. And I still be able, if I just view page source, I still be able to see this data. Okay, or if I look through it in this way, I still be able to see it. So now if I just go to my server, I say, hey, where is this comment? Okay, this is the comment. Or what I need to make sure, if I have sensitive information, make sure this information be in the server side, not on the client side. How I do that? If the PHP, just make sure you just go, okay, this comment needs to be in the server side. So make sure add it between two tag of the PHP. Okay. This way. And this one consider as a comment, so put it in the tag of the comment. So okay, now I still have this data to help me, but this data will run in the server side. The client, it will not pass it to the client side. Now if I just reload the page, I'm no longer able to see it. Even if you reload it this way, it's still the same, but I just want to show you the concept. Not inspect, view page source, so no, not anymore. I'm not able to see that comment. Same thing for the JavaScript. So if you have a JavaScript, so think about you have some JavaScript you want to run. For example, I have some JavaScript here, script comment, and I want to do whatever I want to do, whatever. I want to add comment, submit user name to server. This is comment I added in the JavaScript. Now when I go to the server, I just load this page, I will be able to see it. The user will be able to see this comment. Maybe I don't want the user to see this comment, so I make sure to add it between two brackets of PHP or whatever any server side language that you have. So now if I run it again, I am no longer able to see it anymore. So the solution for this type of problems, make sure you don't pass sensitive information back to the client, such as comments in JavaScript or HTML, or the response. Make sure of the response will not give a hacker a lot of details about your system. So yep, here we done. Thank you for watching and see you next. Hey again, let me talk in this video about bypass restriction and validation of the input. So when we build a website, for example, require username and input a username and password, we add a restriction, ask user to he should put a username and password before he could submit the form. And sometimes we add some validation, like the password should have characters before you could submit the form. You cannot have only numbers. But what you have to know, this type of a process that we do it in the client side, for sure, this is just for user experience. This has nothing to do with the security, because any code in the client side, if it's HTML or JavaScript, the client could play with it and change it. So let me show you this example. I have it here. So if I go to the page, name it add users. So this is my page, add users. So I would assume the user, this page require from me enter username. I would name it tester, and the password. So the password I inputted here now only numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the button is not enabled, because if I inspect the page, I look down to the JavaScript code that I have it. The JavaScript get whatever you have in the password field, which is, if you see, this is the password field. This is the password field. He check whatever password field, and he may want to make sure that password should have a character, so he will enable the button. Otherwise, he will keep the button is disabled. Also, he want to make sure the number of character are greater than 5. I will try to add only 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still the button disabled, because I'm not verifying that request. If I add character and add more, the input get enabled. Is that right? Yep. Now if I just want to keep it 1, 2, 3, 4, the input is disabled. I want to bypass this validation. What I need to do, just go to the button, click on the button, and the button is disabled. Remove disable, the button now is enabled, and now I could click add, and the request passes to the server. If I go to the network, make sure remove this guy, I don't need it. So add user. So the add users, I send a post request to the server. I get 200 response. I say the username tester and password 1234. Even there's a validation, ask me to add character, but I bypass that validation. So if I go to my users, I have them in the database. I should see the tester with password 1234. Oh, so what about if I want just put only username and I don't put any password? I just want to bypass the required data, which we named here the restriction. I need to put only username. I cannot click the button. Okay, I just click on the button. We know how to remove enable. Remove it. Okay, now a button is enabled. I click on it. He still asks me to fill this data, because this is as we said in a few seconds ago, this is a restriction. You should input it. Okay, I could pass this restriction by just click on that button and remove word required. Let me add admin. Well, I don't need to name it admin. I need an admin. I name it tester 2 and no password, because there is no restriction. I'm still able to submit the form. So if I just go to the network, I would see that request. I have a tester with no password. Now if I go to my list user in the database, I have a tester without password. So did you see how we bypass the restriction and we bypass the validation? So the restriction, he asked us to input password, we input only for username. The validation, he asked us to have a password, have a character, we bypass it. We input password with just numbers. So make sure you don't rely only on the client side. The client side is just for user experience, could be easily bypassed. So let's go to the next video and see how we could fix this problem. Hey again. Now let's fix the problem of bypassing the restriction and validation. We say in this form we are required username to input a username and password. He cannot submit user page without a username and password, but he was able to pass it. So I need to fix this problem in the server side. So on the server side, I need what I have page, this is user. I will create a new file from it. I will name it save as add user 1. So this is my add user 1. So it's similar to add user, but it's just a new version from it, add user 1. So same page. So what I need to do in this page, I need to make sure user input a username and password. For now, I take whatever username and password it come in the request, whatever, even if there is no password, and I would just save it in the database. Apply, save, insert it. So what I need to do, just make sure, hey, if the username is not empty and the password is not empty, save it. So now here we fix the problem, of bypass the restriction. Okay, restriction. So now he cannot bypass the restriction. He cannot send me request without having the username and password. If there is no username and password, I will not save that request. So what about the second one? The second one, if you see here in the form, no, just me show you how if he tried to pass it. So if he say tester 3 without a password, and he tried to play this game with me by enable this guy, let you see if I was able to catch him or not. And he did not put any username, and he want to submit the form. So now if I just go here and see if I was able to save it. Oh, tester 3 without a password. What the heck? Maybe I did something wrong. Oh, yeah, I did something wrong. Not here. And the add user form should be, I should go to add user 1, not add user. Because it's just, this page need to be fixed. It's not very, very big deal. So I just need to make sure he is not able to bypass this information. So now just let me try same process again. Add user, see even he go to the add user 1. So add user 1, I would pass tester 4 without password, and make sure the password is input field is in, and this one I remove it. So now I would able to submit password 4 or tester 4. So now if I go here, I should not be able, he should not add the tester 4 because tester 4 doesn't satisfy the conditions. I require username and password in my page, and he did not pass a username and password. Well, the second thing, the username and password should have a character. So I would define here has a character equal false. I would assume first I don't have a character. Then here what I say, hey, if the pre-match this one, so I search for a specific pattern, which is A capital to Z or A small to Z. This way, A capital to Z, A small to Z. I search for this in the password. Make sure I'm searching the password. So if this are there, that mean has password or has character equal true. That means he is good to go. And here I make sure if the has character equal true, I would do this. Otherwise, I will not do it. So here the other level of security. So here what we name it, fix problem of bypass the validation. Okay, I don't want him to pass. Okay, if he pass input without, it doesn't have A to Z tool, he will have a false results. So if it's false, we will not save it. Let me see if I was able, if everything is good. So if I just now try to play the game again by input tester 4 with a password 1234, doesn't satisfy the condition, that's fine, I don't care. I would remove this require, and try to submit it. And now warning, whatever warning I just enabled this one, I think. So, or that guy, let me see what's going on. Did I add it? No, it doesn't add it. I think I get a warning because this one need to be ended in this way. So make sure I fix that guy. So again, if I pass tester 4 with a password of 1234, try to bypass these restrictions. Remove this guy. So now click submit. So let's see if he added the tester 4 or not. So he did not add the tester 4. So you cannot now anymore, you cannot pass the restriction. You cannot pass, and you cannot pass the validation. So tester 4 should 1234, A capital, A small, whatever. Then I click save. Now tester 4 should be added. I would assume tester 4 should be added. So now whatever the client could play with me the game by don't send me the password or try to don't send me the user, he will fail. Don't send me the password, he will fail. The password doesn't satisfy the condition, he will fail. So all the validation, you should do it. Make sure you do it in the server side. Restriction or validation should be in the server side. You could add another level of user experience in the client side, but don't rely on that. This is just for user experience. So here we're done. Thank you for watching. Hey again, let me talk in this video about query string attack. So what we mean by query string? Query string, usually we use it to pass a data between pages. So for example, if I'm here, I want to log in as a normal admin, okay? And with the password is I think with the password admin, then I click OK, login. So if you see my activities, I could go to my activities. So when I click to my activity, I go to another page, my activity, I'm passing a query string named username admin. So the activity, when it get a username as an admin, it will be able to list all the transactions that happen from the admin I mean from the admin to Jenna, from the admin to Leia, from Jenna to the admin. We could see all these transactions, and now I could send money. So for example, I could send money to Jenna. I send her like $30. Now if I click enter, I would see hey, admin sent $30 to the Jenna. So the idea behind this is just like, the idea behind passing a query string is passing information from one page to another. So the other page now what data should show you. But there is thing you have to know. Like now I'm now as the admin, I send some money to Jenna and I send some money to Leia. I sent some money to Jenna and some money to Leia. So I want now to play with the system. Now I see he always passing my username. What if I try to different username? Now if I try to go to Leia. Okay, I like Leia this way and I click enter. So if you look here, now he took me to the transaction activity for the Leia. Now I'm in Leia page, because if you see there's a money come from the admin to Leia and from Jenna to Leia. So now I'm in Leia page. So now I could send money from Leia to me. I send like 5,000. So I click enter. So what did happen is Leia sent money to the admin, 5,000. But the reality, I'm not Leia. I did not log in with username name it Leia. I don't know the password for Leia. I'm an admin. So now if I go back to my page as an admin, the password admin, I click login, I will see I have 5,000 from Leia, which is, yeah, see how I tried to play with the system. I was able to get money from someone who using the system. So this is what you need to know. You need to know what's the information you pass in the query string, if it's important or not important, and how we could secure this. Let me go to the next video and try to secure the query string. Hey again, we talk in this video about how we could fix the query string attack. So first of all, before we talk about how to fix it, when you pass a data using a query string, make sure you pass the data that is not important. So if someone play with that data, he could not affect your system. You could not send money from someone to another. Make sure to pass data, like very easy data that doesn't affect on your system. If you are required to pass data that affect on your system, make sure you pass it in such way that cannot be guessed. So admin, easy to me to know the admin. What if I define a UID instead admin? No one could guess UID. I will tell you what I mean by that. So if I go to the table, if I say describe login, hopefully I did it correct. So the login have a user ID integer, username, password. What if I add another field? If I go here, I try to add another field named user token to the login, and also I try to make this token be UID. That means randomly generated. Whenever we add a new admin, it will have his own token. So if I just try to create it, click enter, you see I have this information: username, password, user token. So now if I just say select star from login, I would see all the users have a null. What I need to do, I just need to delete from login. I need to delete all the users and regenerate them. Now I don't have, if I select star from login, I have no users. If I recreate same 3 users that I have it, and try to copy this code, try to recreate them. So if you see now, he created the admin with password admin Jenna 41 Leia 123, and he generated token for every user. Okay. So now instead passing the username to the second page, I will pass the user token. So okay, I will go this way. See, this is my user token. If I just go, where is the login? I will use the last updated page, which is login 1. And the login 1, here I'm taking username. I could take user token. Okay, will be equal null, and I will take the user token in this way. It will be equal whatever you have it in row, whatever token for that user, and I will get that token, the user token, and I send it here instead sending the username, I will send the user token. Okay. Okay. It's sending username. I will send user token, and make sure I send it to activity 1 because I need to create a new version from the activity. I don't want to miss out with that activity. So create, save as activity 1. So now if I just go back to the admin page, admin, click login, it will show me this activity. Now, sorry, I think I did update login 1, and hopefully I did update not only login 1. Where's the login 1? Hopefully I update the form submission for the login 1. Make sure it's login 1 also updated. So login 1, when he call it, I will go to activity 1. Okay, just make sure from this activity 1, getting your activity and everything. You could just say activity 1, fix this, the submit form, so you'll not have that problem. So now if I just go back now again with admin, click enter. Okay, he show me now. Why he go to the login? He should not go to the login. If I just go to login 1, I should login page should go to login 1. If I'm in the login 1, why he take me back to the login? I don't know. I need to refresh that page to make sure where's the problem. So now if I just go admin with the password admin, login, I'm still on the login 1 page. That's good. If I click on this guy, he take me to that page and he send my user token. He did not send the real user. He sent the token of that user. But according to user token, I cannot get the transaction because the transaction depends on the username. So this will not be hard. If you see here in the activities, we get a username. Now we are getting a user token. So here we depend on the username, and here we insert whatever. We should get a username now. So whatever the from user to user, I should get the username now from the token. So now I have a token, I need to get a username. If you see for the normal login page, you see how we get the information. This one is very, very easy example. Select the star from whatever, just apply this. And I go here, I say get user name from token. Okay, so just go here and I select user name. I select username from login where I'm looking for user token, where user token equal whatever token it gets passed here. So now I'm just say, hey, this is my token. Tell me who is the user who have that token. So he will apply it and he will tell me who is that username. Now I could get the username only here. This is my username. Sorry. And that is, this is the story. I will show it to you. So now here, what we do here is just getting user token. Okay. So what we do, just hey, what was the user token to pass it? Okay, get the user token. From that token, get me the username. Then I get that username. Now I should be able to do whatever process I have with the username here. For example, list the transactions or do whatever. And also one more thing I need to do now, but just to see if this one work. Okay, he tell me there is an error, 48 error query. So 48. Okay, he complained about this one. Select username should be in this way. So I will see if you're able to just list the users. Okay, what? 48. So select username from login where user token equal whatever token you have it here. Okay, so let me just see what's the wrong here. If I just echo the token, query token, and I see what I did miss here. He says select username from login where user token. Let me apply there and see what's the wrong here. Oh, there's nothing wrong here. Nothing wrong. But I think there's the connection of the database should be before I do this. So I have no connection to that. So I need to make sure. Connect to the database first, then try to get this information. So if I just go here, I get all the transactions. That's good. Now in the submit form, he's still sending me a token. Like, I'll tell you what I mean by that. So let me just first remove this echo, because now when I try to send money, he will not record it. If I send money to Jenna, amount to 12, whatever, he will record as a ID. He will not record it as a username. So if I just refresh it, I need to fix this guy. So all what I need to do, first of all, where's the form? This is the activity. Instead username, I'm passing token. So where's the token? What's the name of the token? His name is user token. So I'm passing the user token. I get whatever token it passed, and I'm go to that page. Here also I'm getting from user is token now. Is not anymore. From user is now is token, is not anymore a normal user. So I need also, instead of a from user here, where is it? From user, I need to change the username that I have it, because I changed it to token. So make sure I just from user also be changed, so I will not have a problem. So this one, this guy is not needed anymore. It's not need to be submitted anymore. Just you could do it without it. So now if I just go, good, I send money to Jenna with 1 2 3 1 2 3. So admin send money to Jenna 1 2 3. Now as an admin with this token, I don't know what's the token for other users. It's not easy for me to know this information. So I try to use this analogy of tokens. So pass a token between pages so no one could know what this token mean, and that is. But just make sure if you have sensitive information, don't pass it using a query string, unless the information that you pass it you don't care about. That time, okay, pass then the query string. But if you care about like username, just make sure you tokenize it. So first of all, you pass that token, then you convert token back to the normal user on the server side, and the problem is solved. Hey again, let me talk in this video about cookies attack. But before we talk about cookies attack, let me get overview about the cookies. So any client server communication, any request that goes from the client to the server will have in the header the cookies that save it in the client machine for that server. For example, if I'm talking to Amazon, so in the request that I send it to the Amazon, the HTTP header will read all the cookies that associated with Amazon and will send it to the server. And same thing, any response that goes back from the server to the client, it will have all the cookies from that server that associated with that client. So the server could set the cookies in the clients, and that's what will happen in Facebook. When you open a Facebook page for first time, Facebook send you cookies to your machine and it will save it inside your machine. Whenever you open a Facebook second, third time, Facebook read that cookies from your machine and say, hey, I know this cookie is coming from for example Hussein. Okay, I will give him his data. But what you need to understand here, all the cookies is saved in the client hard disk. That means be easily to accessible by the normal client or by the hacker. But how will be this data will be saved or be sent in the header? The data will be sent in this format: cookies name, cookies value, and cookies name, cookies value, just in this format. For example, you have this way: PHP session that have specific value and the username or call admin. That means there is a a cookies named username, say in the client machine, and there's another cookies named PHP session. Just keep this in your mind, the PHP session. This is so important to know, but for not now when we go to the session hijack. So the idea about PHP sessions, this is a cookies that a PHP server set it in your machine to get or to know the request is coming from you. It's just because the PHP or HTTP is stateless, he don't know who's the client, so he try whenever he get requests from any new client, he generate random number and he create cookies and he save in that client machine. So when another request is coming from the same client, that request will have in the header the PHP session ID. So server say, okay, I know this request is coming from that client, I'm talking to that person. It's just to identify the user, and we will learn later on how we could play with this and how we install user identity when we talk about session hijack. So keep this one for now. We will talk about it later in details. So if I want to tell you like how the details of the cookies will be saved in the machine, will be saved in this way. For example, visited, cookies name, cookies value, the site, and all this information. If you see, it will be saved with the cookies in this way in your machine. I will read it. So for every website you visit, for example, if you visit Amazon, there will be a cookies with your name at the Amazon name.txt. It will be site 1 because you do it for first time. When you visit again, they will do it 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. So just remember this. So now what's the problem we have it? One of the students, he decided to solve the problem of a query in different way. He said, okay, when a person log in, for example, admin and admin, I will get his user ID and I save it in the session. So now when he go to his activity, I will read only the session associated with that user. So the implementation for this, you could see it here in the login cookies, this one. So login cookies, if I log in as an admin with a password as admin, and I click OK. So now what he did, he tried to save my user ID in the cookies. Now if I go to my activity, I will no longer have the username passed here in the query string. I have it in the cookie. He just read it from the cookie and he show me all this information that associated with me. But if we look through the solution for this guy, if you just go here, my cookies, for the login cookies, you just, when you go login, when the user login, I mean, he get that username and he save it in the cookie under username. And whenever in the my activity, he want to read that username, he just get it from the cookie and he read that username. So he think in his solution, like no one could play with the cookies in the, the query string. But wait a minute, if I look through the network and I see how the request goes go from the server to me, I could read the cookies. So if I see the cookies, I have username admin and I have PHP session. You know, I told you about PHP session. That we'll talk about details. We'll talk in details about how we use PHP session. But one of the cookies that he set it in my machine, which is username equal admin. That's right. And also I could read it by going here in the setting my browser and I go search for cookies. Okay. And I will just play with it here and cookies, all cookies, and I search for the cookies associated with my local host. The one I have the username. If you see, this is the username and this is the value for it. So admin, the content, and this is the domain, and I told you about it. So what you have to know in that solution, he hid it from the query string, but still I have access to it. It's still in my machine. So the hacker could easily go here in the console and write document.cookies. So he could read all the cookies that associated in this machine. He see, oh, I have a username admin. I'm the admin. Okay, I will play this game with him. I will send him cookies equal. I send the username equal Jenna. Okay, I change I change the username in the cookies and I click enter. So username is Jenna. Now if I just list, Now the username is updated to the Jenna. Now if I just refresh the page, I log in as admin, but now I have access to Jenna data. So if you see, now I'm in Jenna page. Okay, this is Jenna, and still I could send data to admin, send money to the admin, like 3,000 from Jenna account. So, okay, if you see here, I send from Jenna to the admin, and I go back to correct the identity for me, admin, and now I have my real data back again. So this is the admin, and I get money from Jenna. So when you try to solve the problem by saving it in the cookies, you did not solve the problem. You just hide it, but it's still saved in the hard disk. So what I want to tell you, like, the cookies is still in your machine, and the hacker still could access to that cookies, and you will see it out hard when we talk about stole identity. So because any HTTP header request goes to the server will have all the cookies in that machine that associated with that server. So let's go next and see how this problem could be fixed. Hey again. Now let me talk in this video how we could solve the problem. We understand that the cookies is accessible by the normal user or by the hacker. So anyone could write document.cookies in the console and see whatever cookies I have it for this website, and he could update them. Now, how you treat this type of problem? You treat it in the same way that we treated with a query string. So when you have information so important, you want to pass it like a username, just use a token instead username. And when you have information is not important, like what's the pages he visit, what's previous page, and some not important information, you could just normally save it in the cookies. But remember, cookies is accessible by the attacker and by the normal user. And you see how I also change my identity and I play with this problem to store identity for other user. Now how you solve it? All what you need to do, instead of sending username, send the token and solve it the same way that we solve the query string. The solution for this task is the homework for you. You are required to submit it as a solution, and I will review it. Thank you for watching, and see you next. Hey again, let me discuss in this video the solution for hidden fields problem. So there is no way for us to hide the hidden field from the user, but we need to make sure when we use hidden fields, we don't use it to have a sensitive information, because you'll go to attack number 1 for the gather information, and the user could easily look through the hidden field and see what the information is hidden. For example, username, he changed the other user and he get the identity for the other user. So now what we decided, what our decision about this? Okay, if you have important information, you don't want anyone to access to it, make sure don't save them in hidden field. But if you have normal information, like next page or something like that, okay, that's fine, you could use hidden fields. So here we done, thank you for watching, and see you next. Hey again, let me talk in this video about hidden field attack. So any web page may have a hidden field. So if I look through this web page, I have this information, but if I click view source, I look for the hidden field. So it should be in this way, input, or name it hidden in this way, hidden. So it will show me that some hidden fields I have it. So on the hidden field that I have it, name it username admin. Wow. So from username admin. So that's mean I could here go and change this value, like inspect it and say, where is this input field? The input field is supposed to be in this area. So I say, okay, there is input field, name it admin. I will change it, for example, to Jenna. Now I could get identity of Jenna and submit form as a Jenna. So the idea behind input or hidden fields is the fields that we use it to hide some information we don't want users to see. But you have to know, still, this hidden fields be accessible by the user, and he could go and update the values inside these fields. So what I want to say, just if you have very normal information you don't care about, okay, put them in input field. When you have information that's really important to you and you don't want this information to be shared with anyone, yeah, you should make sure don't put them in hidden field because it be easy to access. So here we done. Thanks for watching and see you next. Hey again, let me talk in this video about URL jumping. So when I write login.php, I'm requesting page name it login.php in the server. The server look through the hard disk drive and say, oh, I have a login, I will serve him. If I call add user, same thing. I'm asking server for add user. The server say, oh, I know this. I know this page. I will serve you. But for sure, you don't want someone who's not logging in the system to add a new user. This is like, I don't want someone who don't have a credential identity to add a new user to my system. So here we come through something named sessions. We talked in the previous video about sessions, and we said like the server, when we send a request to the server, any first request we send it from any browser, the server will create a PHP session. This PHP session will generate unique ID for every user, and we could save more values inside that session in the server. So whenever any request goes from us to the server say, okay, I know the session ID, this is the variable, or this is the values associated with. For example, if I save it in my session username, Hussein, so when a request go to the server with this session ID asking for username Hussein, the server look through the data associated with that user and say, okay, I know this PHP session ID, yes, it have variable name it Hussein, whatever. So if I want to fix the problem of like add user and login, I want only logging user could add a user. Here we come through solution for named sessions. So what I will do, I say, okay, I would assume I will create a new login page. I will make a copy from it, save as, and I will name it session, logging session, and make sure I just instead do session. Okay, so I will not have a mistake because I need to be logged in to do this. Also add user, we allow everyone to add. So now let me add user in the session. I save it as add user session. Okay, so only logging users could add a user. So add user session, I save it and I have it here. Now, good deal. So add user sessions, and I have two pages for now login. So to be able to add users, you should be logging in. Otherwise, you cannot access to this page. How I do that? I should create session. I should add the session in something shared between two pages. So the thing that shared between these two pages, is the header. So all what I go to solve this problem, I go to the header tab, and the top line I will say, okay, PHP, I write session start. That means any page will load this header, he could start a session. So on the logging, after you login, here I have my user, logging user, I could save it in the session. I say, okay, I need to have a $, session, user name. Okay, then whatever logging user. Now when I go to the add user should, before he load the page, he should make sure I have the session. So I say, hey, okay, if this session available or is not empty, so is set, if this session is set, that means there is someone logging in. Okay, that's fine. I would echo user login is whatever my name, the name in the session. Otherwise, if there is no logging user else, I would say whatever. I say return or die or whatever. I will say die. They cannot load page. No permission. No permission. You don't have a permission. I cannot load the page for you. So now if I want to do this, I go to the add permission directory. What I would see, add user, add user permission dot php. So now the page should die because the page cannot be loaded. Well, I added in the wrong place because I should do this. I should take this guy and instead adding here, add in the header of the page, in the beginning of the page, before I load anything. I should add it here. Like after this, after I load the header, I should say, okay, you don't have permission. So now if I just try this guy, and I make sure I say return, so he will not continue parsing the page. So now if I just try to do add user, it tell me, well, you don't have permission. I don't load the page for you. Return, nothing. So now I should be logging to be able to do this. So I should go to the add logging or logging session.php, then get logging as a normal user, as a, for example, Jenna 1234. Now in this case I could go to that page, which is name it add user session, this one. Now he say, okay, I know you, okay, this is your page. So did you see, like, because when I be not authorized, he will not show me this page. When I be authorized and I have the session, say, okay, I will open the page for you. And this is what we name it, like we or how we solve the problem of, I mean, of sessions, like how we could manage it and try to avoid people from accessing page that they are not authorized to access. We create session and we allow them to access the page only if they are authorized. So if I inspect the page, if you page sort or inspect will be better, and I try to see whatever I have it here in the session. So I just go to the network for the page. I do not see the username anymore. There is no username. See in the cookies there is no username, because in the session it will be saved. The idea behind the session, it will be only the session ID. You could see it in the client side. All other information will be saved. I mean, username, whatever thing I saved in the session as a variable will not be seen. It will be saved only on the server. When I ask for that, when in my page I ask it for session username, the server will say, okay, let me check. This user ID or this is PHP session had that username. I will send him whatever username being saved there. I want to make my code like more coherent. What I do, I just say, okay, this is the cookies page. I will save a copy from it as a session page. I just want to make it my code like save as. Instead cookies, I name it session, my PHP session, and what I need to do, this is my submit form. I should go to my PHP sessions, and in the login page, instead going to this guy, I could go to this, and I'm no longer anymore need to send any information to that one. I could just save it in the cookies because I have it already, my username already in the cookies here. The username, here is it, where is it? Where is it? Here is it, in the session. So all to read the activities, all what I need to do, or read whatever I have in the session. Now it's more secure. Now no one could read it, but you will see still there's a problem. Now if I just go to the admin, password admin, well, this is adding. I think I need to go logging as a session. So admin, hopefully I could go to the logging as a session. So hopefully it will take me my activity as a session and I will be able to read my activity. Now there is no way for anyone to steal my identity because I have them in the session in the server, but you will see there's another attack we will discuss in a few seconds, how people could steal your session also. So now everything is clean. Yes, I passed the username, but the username is saved in the session in the server, under specific session ID. So he cannot guess whatever I have in the session, and I'm good now. An only authorized user could access to this page. Everything looks fine for now, but we'll see what's the problem will happen later on. Hey again, did we talk in this video about session hijacking? The idea behind the session hijackings, the hacker stole the server at rest. So think about you have a client named Joe and there's a server. So when the requests go to the server, the client Joe read the cookies or PHP session and send this PHP session ID to the server. The server say, okay, I know this is a client Joe and this is the information for him. What will happen if the hacker have access to the cookies and he was able to read the PHP session? He will send the PHP session to the server and the server, they say, okay, I know you are Joe. What? So I was able to store the information for Joe or store the rest. Now if there is an admin, he could log into the system. I could also store the session for that admin and try to transfer money from his account using the session hijacking. So I will tell you how. So let's do that exercise. If I go to the Chrome, I'll try to log in as a normal admin. So I will go to the localhost. The page that I am interested is login sessions. Okay. And in the login session, I could log in as a Jenna. And Jenna will have a password 1234. So log in, I will see this is Jenna information. Go here, this is the admin sent to the Jenna sent to the admin. If I look through the inspect, I want to read the cookies for Jenna. What I want to do, just say document.cookies, and this is the PHP session for Jenna. So now I want to go and do session hijacking. I will open Firefox to make it like as a totally different. So here I go to the localhost and we'll go login session. I just go inspect console. I want to see what's the cookies or what the session first I have. Document.cookies. Okay, document.cookies this way. So this is the cookies I have it, the PHP session, this one. So now I could say document.cookies. I will add PHP session will end by 5. Now if I read them, I should have this session ID 56. So because I have two PHP sessions, this one and this one, it will first come first service. The first one, when someone asks for PHP session, they will read this one. They will not read this one. They will read the last update one. Now if I just go to the my activities, I should be able to access. Wow. So here admin send money to the Jenna send it to the admin. So now I have access to the Jenna. See? So if I assume this is totally different user, he just by reading my session, he was able to do whatever he liked to do. Just like now he could send money. Like I send money to the and try to send money to admin. I send $3 to the admin. Send. You see, I was able to send to the admin $3. Hey again. Did we talk in this video about how to solve the problem of session hijacking? We know session hijacking happened because someone stole your cookies and moved into other machine and used them as you. So now we need to do, the server need to be genius somehow to know if that cookies is coming from a specific machine or not. If it's coming from the same machine, same IP address, it will accept it. If it's coming from different machine, different IP address, it will reject it. And that is. So now the question, how we could get the IP address and the machine for any user. So if I just click for this my page, login page, I go to the network, I see login page. I sent some information about myself to the server, such as user agent. I told this information. I told him, hey, I'm using Chrome here, but a Chrome sending header for Mozilla Firefox to tell the server, hey, I could also open Firefox. But the reality here, I'm using Chrome 6.9, this version. But Chrome add these things to tell the server, hey, I'm not only supporting Chrome, I'm supporting Safari, I'm supporting Chrome, just a way for for the communication. But if the server doesn't support, for example, Mozilla, it will not serve somehow. Also, I could get the IP address for the user in the header of the HTTP. So there is two information it's been sending from my machine to the server in the HTTP header. One of them, my IP address, another one is my Mozilla Firefox. So what I will do is this, I will go here, and where's my login page? So if I just go to login, and I think login session, the one that I'm caring about, this guy. So I will save it as, and I say login session hijacking, H by the end. So this one to be session hijacking for the session hijacking work. So make sure it is the same one here. So now, hopefully everything is good. Now what I need to do, just send that file to my server, session hijacking, this guy. Okay, so make sure I want to serve this page remotely, so you would see it. So because I need to get some information. So now login, I think session hijacking. So this guy, this is the page that I think this is the page that I am looking for now. So this is some text I'm printing. I will just remove them in seconds. I don't care about them. So if I just click right, close others. Okay, so what I'm printing here, this is something from different work. Don't care about it. So what I need to know here, I need to know some information. I need to see if the server is able to get the agent ID, user agent. So it's really easy to get user agent. Just say, hey, define variable name it user agent, read from the header user agent. So whatever user agent come, I could know it using this guy. So now if I just echo the user agent and I just move this file to the server should be able to get my user agent easily. This is just a way. I just want to show you like how this process happened. I know it's not hard process, but now if I just click enter, I see, hey, the server now was able to read same thing that I did send here. So whatever was here in the user agent, the server was able to read it. Now also I need to allow the server to read my IP address. So I could do this. I say, okay, add variable IP initial equal null. Here there's different scenario for the IP. So I wrote already code ready. I will just copy it from my other screen and this code. Well, this is the code checking if the HTTP client is not empty. Someone sending IP address to HTTP client, take it. Otherwise, take it from HTTPX forward for. Otherwise, get it from this guy. So there's three possible places for storing the IP address in different HTTP requests. So using this, I just make sure I get the correct IP address. So it may be in the client, or it may be in the proxy, or it may be in the remote one. So yes, this is very basic to get the IP address on the agent. So if I just say, okay, print IP address, then dot, then this guy, then the agent, then I want to send it to the server to make sure if the server will be able to get that guy for me. So if I just rerun it, so now parse error IP, he told me IP equal, it's not correct. So if I just go here, well, I think here everything is correct. I don't know what's the wrong here. Maybe here IP address. Well, now I have everything ready. What I need to do is just upload this file to the server. If I did upload it correctly. So now if after uploaded, when I load that page, I should able to see my IP address. The server was able to know my IP address. It was able to tell me which header I have. So what I need to do here, I say, okay, I have IP address and I have this one. Well, what I need to do is just generate a token from these. So I say, okay, token and this token will be just MD5 for now. You could use anything you like. You could use any other algorithm. I just generate MD5 from these two, and I could do in this way echo the token. So the token is generated. I no longer need to print the IP address. If you want, you could, but I just no longer need it. So now if I just upload the file and see if I'm able to generate a token from the IP address and the username. So now I have this token. This token is generated from two things, from the browser and from the IP address. Now if someone wants to store my machine, my cookies, I should be able to figure out, or the server should be able to figure out, hey, yeah, it's the same cookies, but it's not same server, it's not same user, and it's not same machine. So what I need to do this. I say, okay, I have this, a token. I will take this token and save it in session. So in the session, I will save that token. I will name it, whatever. Name it token. Whatever you want to name it, you could name it. Maybe take token H to avoid collapse with that another token that I have it. So good, this is the token. So this one is get generated if there is no token. If there is token, I should not generate it again, just to make sure I don't have problems. So whenever I have a user open the page first time, I make sure I generate this token. Otherwise, I will not generate it again. So this code should not be in this page. It should go to the load header. So if you remember, where is the header? This is header, because I need it to happen in all the pages. So here I start my session and I had some protection. So here what I do, I say, okay, I create user agent, I create token. If it's no token, so I say, hey, if it's no token there, if no token or empty for the token, I don't have token, please create the token for me. So what he will do, he say, okay, if there is no token, create the token. If there is token already, what I will do, I will make sure that the whatever I get from the user is same what I have in the machine. So I don't need to repeat this code. Better for me to change it to function and solve the problem. I say, okay, I will define function here, and this function name it get token this way. And this function do all this process and return for me the token. And here, if it's empty, I will set the token. If it's not empty, I need to make sure whatever the token is I got. Oh, but the token I have, it should be exactly same the token I have for that user is equal this one. That's good. Otherwise, there's a problem. So if this one is not equal, that means someone's storing the token. I should say this. I say die, whatever die, token is not valid. Okay, then whatever I could do. So I say token die, token is not valid. So what will happen here? If someone, whenever I start working, what the server do, it will create a token for me because there is no token, empty, create token and save it in the session. Whenever, anytime I request the page, any other page, the server check, hey, there is a token, yes, it is same user, okay, yeah, I'm trusting him. If someone else tried to take my token, go to a different machine, it will not be equal to he should be stopped from doing anything. So this will work on all the pages, not only on this, not only on the session edge. So what I need to do, I need to go to FileZilla, and I could go to what's the last page that I created? Header tab, I think the header tab, this one last page I updated, and now I'm good. So now I don't think I need session page. I need just go to the session hijacking. I need just normal session because I made the solution generic to work on other pages. Now if I just go here as a normal user, enter, I should be okay to go. Now if I just be admin, I could log in here. I should be seeing my activities. Good, no problem. What he told me, he showed me this information, which is not a big deal. I printing this in the server. So now if other client, someone want to go here, which is this guy, which you go HA. This is the hacker, I would assume. He go to the, just make sure I go to correct pages. Login session. He go to the login session, and he is currently now, he's not logging into any page, and he tried to go to same page that I have it here. He will try to go. He should not be able to see anything, but for now he was able to see which pages, maybe because there's already sessions there for him. So if I do inspect, and this guy also, I will see this one. So in the console here, I say document, just wait a second, dot cookie. Okay, so this is my PHP session ID. This is the number, the one I'm interested in. I'm logging in here as an admin. Okay, I want to go to this browser, which is totally different to browser, and this browser should log in as a Jenna. 1 2 3 4, hopefully. And Jenna should be able to see here on transactions. So Jenna is from Jenna. So here, this is the account for Jenna for sure, definitely. So if I just to go console, I say document. Okay, document q dot cookie. So this is the cookie that Jenna have it, and this is the admin cookie have for PHP session. So if I say document.cookie will be equal, I will get this guy, whatever I have it here. So I just copy whatever I have it for the cookie for the admin. Then I click enter. So I was able to update the PHP session ID. Now if I just he say token is not valid. So I was not able. He just, hey, this is not valid, go out. So validating token session hijacking is really good process. So did you see what I did? So all what you need to do to avoid any session hijacking in your code, just go to your header and add this code. And bam, you'll be all set. All set. No more code you need to add. No more code you need to add. This all what you need to add to make sure the request is coming from same user. So did you see? It's still I'm same machine. I'm still same machine. I just changed the browser. I changed the browser from Firefox to Chrome. Now it's the IP address went to the server. Yeah, same IP address, but the browser is not same. It's rejected. Token is not valid. And this is the idea. So here we done. Thank you for watching. See you next. Hey again. Let me talk in this video about XSS attack or break user trace in the server. So in normal life, there is a communication happen between client and server. Client send a request to the server send a response back. The client trace that server, and whatever coming from that server, the client consider it as a real data. The XSS attack, we try to inject HTML or JavaScript code in a client side. And we try to confuse the client about the information that coming from the server. So there is two types of the XSS attack. Either stored attack, that means we store our attack in the server, and whenever any client communicate with that server, we attack that client. Or reflected attack, that means we attack specific client by giving specific URL that includes some JavaScript and HTML. We inject them in his code, so we store information from him. So what we will discuss in this video, different things, how we do pishing, how we do store cookies, how we do apply ads that's not coming from the real server, and many things. But just you need to remember here is the idea behind XSS attack. We are injecting a JavaScript code and HTML in the client side. So my example is a very basic simple chat page. Like some people type something and you click submit, he will see it here. And there's other people could log in and see that chat text. So before I'm able to use this chat, which is page name is chat.text, I need to create some tables that's needed in my tutorial. So the table that I need to create them, if you go here, this is two tables, the chatting and the sessions. The chatting have information about chat, and session have information about the sessions that we will install in a few seconds. So if I just create these two tables, I have them, this is my two tables. Now if I just go here now, try to say hi Firefox, whatever. So let assume there's communication between Firefox and Chrome, and this guy just load the page. He say hi Firefox, he say hi Chrome, whatever. He say save it, all the information saved in the database. So what we could see here, that all the information are saved in the database and both of them they retrieve it. So we could apply stored attack. That means we store information in the server and anyone load that information, we attack him. So let me start very simple attack to make sure we could attack or not. We could say script alert 1 script. That means here we are trying script. We're trying to inject a script with alert only. So anyone load the page will see alert. If I click submit, that's good. So if I just click load, I would see alert 1. Good. If this one click, he get. So anyone now communicate with the server will be affected. Why? Because we was able to inject a JavaScript code in the client side. So very simple, and we was able to understand, hey, this server could be attacked. So this is the server, or I mean the alert that we did it. What we could do else? Let me try to confuse users. There is ads is coming from the server. So what I will do, I say AMG, I insert image, src, the resource for the image. I have a link for that for image. You could add any link you would like. I have my own image, which is this image. So I want to show this image to anyone load the page. So I click save. Now I attack the server. Now this user, oh, I show this ads. Wow! Now think about this another user, when he opened the page, he think the request is coming from Hussein, or I mean the data coming from Hussein, but he see ads for Coca-Cola, which is like, this should never happen. Now I trust Hussein website, but Hussein website, he never offer Coca-Cola, but someone injects something in his website and he try to show me Coca-Cola ads, which is big deal. We should never allow this to happen. So what the second most important thing that we want to do when we want to store things, we want to store sessions or cookies. So we could apply some attacks like session hijackings or many type of attacks that we talk about. So how I could store the sessions? If I view source code for this guy, I would see he used jQuery, so I could use simple jQuery functions to get the data or get session and send them to my server. Or I could use normal JavaScript. I prefer use jQuery because it's really easy. What I did, I already built very simple page. I named it guest session. This guest session is connected with a server. Whatever session it send it to this page, he will save it in the table. So the idea behind this page is installing session and save them in my database. So when I want to call this page, all what I need to do is just go to the guest sessions, and I said, for example, 100. Whatever, let me suppose 100. Now, I would suppose 100 is saved in my database. To make sure from that, I would say select star from sessions. So 100 is saved in my database. This is good. Now I want to start my attack. We said I want to apply attack with jQuery. So I would say, okay, script the jQuery to do post. I say .get because I'm doing get thing. Then I open a bracket, my URL, the URL for my server, which is this URL. And I would not send 100. I would send instead the current cookies. So I say document dot cookies in this way, cookie, then semicolon, say function, and open bracket data plus error, then whatever ended, open bracket, close it for the function, and close data bracket that I have it, then I end the script. This is very basic code to make sure this code is valid. Just go to your page, which is chatting, for example, and apply it here. Okay, that's mean, yeah, it sounds everything is cool. I don't have anything wrong, so that's good. Let me take this guy now. So now what I have to do is just apply, submit. Okay, that's good. So for now, I apply first attack, and the second attack should happen also. Now, when someone loads this page, he will be attacked. I lose the information. So now if I just go to my server, so see, this is the session information that I stored from the user. Yo, wow, this is so bad. People could store this information. So, or for the Chrome, the another guy in the Chrome, when he loads the page again, now I should be able to store the information from him. Now if I just go to my database, I should have the sessions. So this is the sessions for the Chrome guy. So you would see when I store the session informations that, hey, I'm done. I could do whatever I want with this user. Just do session hijackings and more. So this is two type of things I could do. What else I could do? Well, I could do pishing. What do we mean by pishing? Pishing mean, okay, this is the website. I try to create similar page, which is, I would assume in my case, this is the chatting. I will create another page, save as, I name it pishing. Okay, and save. So this let's assume this is the attacked page. Now, whenever any user, I want to redirect people to don't use this page, to use my page. What I need to do, I need to inject script document, and this way dot location, call the URL. I have it. So you know this is my page URL. Just instead chatting, I will take them to that page. Script to make sure my code is correct. All what I need to do, just add it in my tested. I want to test it. So script so on document dot location is correct. There is nothing wrong. Let's make sure dot location. Yep, sounds correct. So all what I need to do is just save or submit. Now what's going on? People call chat page, but the reality, what they will see, they should see pishing page. Okay, they are now on the pishing page. They go and see again because you are redirect again and again. You should fix this problem. And same on this guy, when he tried to call chatting, we took him to pishing. You could stop this recalling because it just going again and again. And the attack now in my database. If I stop the attack in my database, I should be fine, but I would assume this what will happen. So yeah, this is like 4 type of attacks that we say do them as a stored. So that means we store the information, then we retrieve it. So I would remove all this information that I have in the table. I remove everything I have in the chatting. So I say delete from chatting. So I would assume there is no more chat. So I will not have a refresh again and again. So this chat. So this is very basic type of storage. So that means we store information in the server, then when to retrieve it, we do something. There is another type of attack, which is that mean in the query string. For example, suppose I expect name to be here and name be whatever name, like I mean Hussein. Okay. So in the chat, I will try to read that name. I would assume I'm reading that name in the JavaScript. I just assume whatever it happened. So I would add the name here. I say script. I would say var name equal. I get whatever I have in the Java or in the PHP. I would say add get whatever, because I'm doing get request. So get whatever name is sended will be here my name, and make sure this one is string, because I read JavaScript, and I could say document.write, document whatever, document.write. I print what that means, whatever name is I am getting, I will print it. So if I just do here, hopefully I will see name Hussein now. I would hope. So name is Hussein is get printed. But what's the problem happen? I'm just taking the data, whatever data sended, and I printed here. So what attacker could do, if you look through the JavaScript code here, inspect. So I just go here, let me see what the attacker could do. In the end, so I define variable and I write it. So what attacker could do, the attacker could send Hussein name and the string, then semicolon, and he could start a new string. For example, he inject alert. Okay, then he add this sign, I mean this sign for ignore the remain part, in this way. If I click enter, I would hope I was able to inject alert. Yep. So that's mean why, because there's a string and I was able to end that string and start a new string. So this is how XSS attack happens. So if someone have a user page for login to the bank account and I was able to send him URL, and for the same bank account, and start to inject some JavaScript here to be able to get whatever username and password that he have, this will be very, very hard. So if I suppose like here on the login page, and somehow if I was able to send him a username and send him some JavaScript here in the query, and I was able to inject here the JavaScript, when he input the username and password in the bank, he click login, he will not log in, I will store his information. So yeah, this is the idea behind the XSS attack. So let me see how we could fix this problem. Hey again, before I talk how to fix the problem in real world, I want to discuss with you some real important thing that I find it in How to Break Web Software book. So this is what they talk about input validation, the input. So always we are dealing with input. Some input user put it like either in the chat app or he sent it to us in the query string. There is two scenarios to solve this problem. Either whitelist, that means I define a specific character that I accept. For example, I2Z only. Or blacklist, I define a specific character that I don't accept, which is like either like greater than, less than, or whatever. So most developers go with the solution for blacklist. So they just define specific blacklist. That means open a bracket, close a bracket. I don't allow them. Otherwise, I allow other character. Which unfortunately, this is not the correct approach that we should do, because every character have different forms, and that's what we'll see next. The best approach we should follow is defining our whitelist. That means we define the character that we allow to be used in our code. So, for example, if you see like this, what he showed you here, the example for script, if you try to find any more script and you try to remove it, but in this case, script inside script, when you remove the enter script, you still have the outer script. And same thing for this one, like slash could represent %5c, and this percent could be represented by %25, and this percent could be represented %25/5c. So you cannot, if you want to like make this one as a blacklist, it may come in this form, it may come in this form, and it may come in this form. So it will be really, really hard to find all the possible forms that you should prevent. So the best solution is go with whitelist. That means, okay, this character that I allow, and that is. So that's my idea, and you are free to use whatever you like. Hey again, let's now try to solve the problem that we have it with the chat app. I don't want to define my whitelist or my blacklist, but just to give you an overview, what we did, first we did inject, sorry, we didn't inject document alert. We maybe do this, and we maybe alert whatever cookie you have it. So when someone click enter, he could see all the cookies available on this machine, and or he said his cookie. And we also inject ads. Someone could inject ads here, like display ads to you, or someone would store your information, something like injecting jQuery things. And this is all what we type of injection could do. The best thing to do is solving the problem either in JavaScript or solve the problem in HTML. In HTML, when we solve the problem, when you see this data is when data is being showing, if you just go here to go chat, I would say save as and chat secure. I will name it secure in this way. And the chat secure, all what I will do is here, when I print the data for every row, I say HTML entity. HTML entity mean, hey, any HTML thing, you have it as a HTML character, you have it, convert them to HTML entity. So open and close bracket will not consider as a normal code injected, will consider as a HTML code. So if I just go back now, if I just go to my chat secure.php, I will not able to see any alert, anything, see? You see, he showed to you as they are. He show you the data as they are. He will not allow you to execute them. But this is a fix only for what? For the code that only in the JavaScript. What about the code that we have, code in the HTML? So if you have a code in the HTML, you want to fix it, usually use HTML entity. But what about the code that you have it in the JavaScript? If you remember, we have this code, and user could send something like, you could go here and say, hey, I would say the name equal Hussein, and I will end this. Then I will say alert for 1. Then I will end it this way, and he was able to pop up something, and he was able to see what the data is here. The data is sent here. I told you there is different scenario. There is no specific scenario to solve this, but this is my best approach that I use it. So different thing have different requirement. Maybe I will escape character. Maybe your solution doesn't escape character, but this is the general one I use it. So what I will do, I say, okay, before I do this, I say JSON encode. JSON encode, what I try here to escape characters. So you will see now, when I try to apply this, before I apply them, just let me see what we have. See how they apply it. Now when I just run them again, he will not allow them to be injected. So, no, so he tried to read them as a normal data. So what about if I send only Hussein? Oops, JSON encode. Wait a minute. I go what I did. JSON decode. I should say JSON encode. Okay, not JSON decode. JSON encode. So I just run it again. I should be able to see all the data. See, escape. He tried to escape the character, such as this sign, such as any sign that may affect on my code. So here we fix the problem, and hopefully everything looks fine to you. Oopsie, still I have invalid character. Why? Because here I have double quotation and single quotation, as I believe, because here when we use JSON encode, we no longer need to use this one. We should be okay just by JSON encode there. So we'll see what's going on now again. So now JSON encode, I think now everything looks fine. If I just go here, yes, everything is fine, and he was able to print it as they are. So this is basically how we solve the problem, and here we're done. And as I told you, still different scenario, different thing. Maybe you don't need to escape this character. You need to find different solution. You need to define your whitelist. So are we done? Thank you for watching. See you next. Hey again, let me talk in this video about SQL injection. So when we build the website, we may have a database, and this database contains thousands of informations for different clients or whatever. So what if someone was able to access to the database and drop table, or drop the database and no, we cannot serve anyone else, or he is not able to log in, or he's not like have authentication to log in, and he tried to play with that query and inject something to log in as admin and do whatever he like, or he delete all the records that we have it, and there is no way to retrieve these data. So SQL injection mean there is SQL statement. They try to change how the SQL statement will run and try to inject SQL code to be run in your database to do whatever they like. You need to make sure 100% any query for retrieve data from the database or add data in the database doesn't allow to any injection. Otherwise, your data will be easily attacked and user could do whatever, or attacker could do whatever they want to do. So going to the bank website that we have it, if you remember, you have a login page. And in the login page, you should have admin, or if we want to go to the secure session, I mean the session one, you should have a username as an admin, for example, and password, unless, like for example, password admin. To login, if you don't have authentication, you will not be able to login. If you enter admin, wrong password, you will not be able to login. What if someone wants to play with us the game? So if you see, this is how the SQL statement will be written. Normally, we write select star from the table where the username equal whatever he enter and the password equal whatever he enter. What if he tried to play this game? So think about this is the query and I want to change something in this query. So I would say I would open Sublime to make it easy for you to understand what I want to do. So this is the query. I pass username as it is, but the password I will pass it in this way. I will say, okay, this is his password. I would enter anything. Then, so this is the data that I input. That we suppose this is my data that I input, data input. Okay, I will suppose the password I will send it in this way. I will send, for example, H, I say colon, or 1 equal 1, then whatever. So now if I just take this data, okay, this is a query, and I replace this data instead only this data, what I will have? I will have where password equal this one or 1 equal 1. And I could see I have a colon here, I could remove it. So I would remove it this way. So it will be, I have only single colon. So this is how it will be. So if I inject this one only, or this one, I will be able to attack the database. Is that right? Let me try. If I just go here and say, okay, admin or no noun, whatever. And the password, I put that one that I told you. If I click enter, yes, I was able to log in as an admin. So no noun, username, but the password, I told him the password equals single quotation, then I add something. This is what we name it by SQL injection. You inject something. So think about someone try drop table. Besides he inject, he try to drop table. Here on SQL, you cannot run multiple query, but in SQL Server, something like that, you may be able to run multiple queries. So he may be able to instead log in. He maybe try to say, hey, instead I'm logging in, I will do, I will, for example, say I end this query, and for example, you say this way. You say, okay, I would enter A, for example, and I say drop table user, whatever. Then he do this way to avoid other code. So this is very basic way of SQL injection. So see, I'm now as admin and I could go and do any admin activity, unfortunately. So we need to make sure 100% we don't allow any SQL injection, any type of SQL injection. So let me see next video how we could avoid SQL injection. Hey again. To avoid SQL injection 100%, you need to use stored procedure. Stored procedure is supported by SQL Server. If the database engine doesn't support SQL procedure, use prepared statement. So in this case, I'm using MySQL that doesn't support SQL stored procedure. I will use a prepared statement. The idea behind the prepared statement, any input will consider as an input. You cannot use it to add other inputs. So for example, if I go back to my normal login page or login session that I was using it, so here we are accepting whatever, where is it? We are requesting the whatever username and password he inputs. So he was able to put single quotation and add whatever he like in this string. But the good solution for this is login secure. What we will do here, we use to prepare the statement. So that's mean we say, okay, username equal colon whatever question mark, password equal question mark, then we do prepare statement, then we pass the username and the password. In this case, the username and password will consider one input. Even he, whatever he add, will consider as an input. He cannot change anything. So this is the solution you should follow. You should just use prepare statement and you will 100% safe. So if I go to my normal page, if I try whatever I add and with this password, I should be able to attack this page. But if I go to login secure, I should add whatever username and password, same password, I will not able to attack. Okay, because the username is input 1, considered as a 1 input, and the password as a 1 input. So again, always remember to use store the procedure of your language or the database engine support store the procedure. If not, just use store prepare the statement and you will be safe. Here we done. Thank you for watching and see you next. Hey again. Let me talk in this video about directory retrieval. Think about we have this online banking and they have already shared the report for 2017. You could go and see this report by going to the page named report.php file equal report 2017 and you could see the revenue. Now we are in the end of 2018, for example, and they still did not publish the report yet. They still have 5 days to publish it. And hacker or someone else could go ahead and try something like 2018 and try enter, and he may be able to get the revenue before it get published, which is very, very bad idea. This make the company crash, if they have something in the revenue, because it is so important to keep this thing secret until the time come. And this is what we name it by directory retrieval. People could go from one directory and another directory using your data. Not only this, think about this. You have not only report, you have another place, name it not production. Okay, this is not in the production. The report 2018 is in the not production. It just is not published yet. Okay, I would assume not production is not in the report in the SDW in the root. So still they be able to access to this one dish by say, okay, this is my report. So I would assume I go one step back, then I input this one, then I go to that report. I just give it the correct path. So I'm in this directory. I go one step back to the previous directory and see the report for 2018. So if I go enter, I should be able to still see that report. So if you do this type of mistakes, you will cost the company hundreds of thousands of dollars. So make sure from avoiding directory retrieval 100%, because people, if you give them a specific directory, they could easily go back to previous directory. Even the code here is not that complex. It's just I say, okay, whenever you have a reports, just go to that directory. But he was able to add colon because I was in report, so he had colon to go back to the SWA, then he input that folder. Because they hacker, they will try all the possible things. So make sure to avoid this type of mistakes. The avoid is not hard. Just try to don't allow them for example, don't allow them to pass a file name. Make it like something it's happening in your server, process these things. And yep, here we done. Thank you for watching and see you next. Hey again. Now let me talk about how to solve the problem of directory retrieval. So as we've seen in directory retrieval, user could input double like dot then slash and whatever. So now how to solve this problem? Now we go back to the point of the blacklist and whitelist. Should we use a blacklist? I'm sure you will not, because this character have different representation as you see it before. So you will not go with this with the blacklist. I would prefer go to the with whitelist. So on the whitelist, we just say, okay, which type of character we accept? Okay, we accept only whatever character and whatever number. Anything else, we reject it. So we just define what we accept, not what we reject. So we accept only character and number. So now if I just go back here and try to create a new report, so save as, I would say report, this report should be the secure one. And if I go back to the website, I should be able to still see everything now. If I say secure. So now, yep, I still be able to see. So what I will say, I say, okay, I have my thing that I don't not release yet here, and I release it here. So I just make sure he enter only the report name. So what I will say, I'll say, okay, if the pre-version match, what I'm looking for, I'm looking anything from A to Z or A capital to Z, and anything from 0 to 9, whatever they be, on how many numbers, I don't care, plus $, and colon. Then I see whatever the file is. So here, then I say, okay, if this success, okay, please just go and load that file and show it to me. Otherwise, say echo input not valid. Okay. So now, if the file name is part from this regular expression, which is A to Z whitelist and 0 to 9, I will accept it. Otherwise, no, I will not. So let me make sure. Okay. Make sure regular expression. Well, I don't know why I have two of them, but this guy should not be there, should be here. Okay, now it's good. Very, very easy and simple solution. Now if I just play this game, it will tell me input not valid. Now if I just input report name, there is no report like this name. So 2017, he will show it to me as a data. So yeah, see how we define the whitelist and we be all set. So here we done. Thank you for watching and see you next. Hey again, let me talk in this video about cross-site request forgery. The idea behind this type of attack, I just sent forum content from different URL to the server, and the server believes this submission is coming from a specific user. So what I mean by that? If I'm a developer in such dummy way, I think only users need to only log in and click login, and they could go do whatever they like and see this page. Now this user could submit anything he wants. So if I do inspect this user, he could send money to Jenna with the example $4. Click submit. I see there is a money sent from admin to Jenna with $4. If I look through the network, I see this page. This was the request. I'm using here Firefox, I think. Yeah, I'm using Firefox. So I see here, this was the data, this is parameter, this is the form. I sent $4 from admin, from user admin to user Jenna. This was the send that I did it. And this is all what I did in sending the money from admin to normal user. So if I send again money from admin to Leia, because I'm already logging in as admin, to Leia I send her $2, click send. I would go to the post and I see here I send $2 from admin to Leia. So this is the forum content. So what this type of attack does, you say, okay, this is the form, and I see the form content is just changed to when we submit it to the server. I could just change the content and resubmit it. What I mean by that, he could do it in two ways. He could, if he used Firefox, he could go to this part and click edit resend, and he look here to user Leia and from user admin and action send, and this is the amount. He could say to user, I'm sending to the admin, from user Leia, I'm just stole money from Leia. I stole 3,000 from Leia to the admin and I send. And I just click what? I click resend. What I did here, if I just refresh the page, as admin, he get 3000 from Leia. Why? Because the form submission doesn't have any verification, so I could resubmit it again. I did it here in a simple way, but the real way of csrf attack happen is this. The attacker look through the forms in the code. The attacker click here, like for example, remove this. Attacker click views page source. He view the source of the page. I don't know why I cannot see the page source for now, at least. Here, view page source. He search for form. So for example, here he find this form. So he take this form. This is the real attack happen. And he use any editor. For example, I'm using Sublime now, my editor. And in this editor, the attacker add this code and save it as a normal HTML page. For example, csrf.html. Okay, he save it in any place. The attacker search in this HTML. He see, okay, I see amount, I see from as a hidden field, and I see to. He say, okay, I could just play with this form. Just from admin, I change it from, for example, Jenna. Okay, and this one admin, I change it Jenna, and I save it. And I just go back, click on the page in my local host. I see it, so I send from Jenna to admin. I send, for example, 2500, and I click send. So I'm not able to send. Why? Because if I look through the form here, if I just go back to my code, I see here the submission is my activity, but the my activity is not in the local host, it's in the remote server. It is here. So make sure I should make sure add the URL before this my activity. So before this guy, I should add it. Okay. So I need to go back to my code and make sure to add http ha.robai.com, then my activity URL, then username Jenna. Okay. Now if I just go back to that page, refresh it, normal page in localhost, I could send money for admin 2500, and I click send. So I should be able to send money. Now if I go to Firefox, I could just refresh my page. I see I got 2500 from Jenna. So this is exactly what happened when there's vulnerability in Facebook. So you could just submit comments instead, different, like write some comment in page of different person by just scanning this. So the whole idea behind csrf token, the attacker look through the forms and see if he could resubmit the form from different URLs. So all what I did, I took this page, which is in this URL, I took the form content, which is this form, I moved it to my local host. If you see, this was the page, this was from my local host, and I sent, sorry, it was this page a few seconds ago, this page from my local host, and I was able to send and do whatever I want. So for example, add comment on some Facebook person page. So this is the idea of csrf token. Thank you for watching. See you next to learn how to fix it. Hey again, we talked in the previous video how attacker could submit form from different URL and they behave as us. So now the idea how we could prevent this type of attack. The prevent of this attack is standard. All what we need to do whenever anyone requests any page, we generate random ID for that page or random token. For example, is this. So if I just go to my code, my login page now is changed, so I just save as, I will name it login csrf. So because this is my login csrf, make sure the login csrf be here because I need two people to log in. And now my activity will not be the normal activity, will be instead of activity will be activity csrf. So I say save as my activity csrf. Okay, and I click submit. So looking to this guy, I just make sure update this form correctly, remove everything else I don't need. So and make sure this guy, when I log in, this one is csrf, going to that page, just make sure everything is fine. What I need to do, just local Okay, local. I need to go here, go to login dot csrf.php. This is my login. I should do admin. Just make sure I did correctly. Transfer. Yeah, I'm still on the login. My activity csrf. I'm good. Now I want only every page is served for every person to have specific random value. I will tell you how. What I need to do, I just go here. I say, okay, this is my activity. I need to generate random value for this. Okay, it's not hard. I just go here. I just do PHP code. I want to generate random token. I say, okay, this is token. Okay, token. And this token will be, I say MD5. This MD5 algorithm require unique ID. Unique ID, like every time I generate unique ID as random in this way, as true. This is very simple function. It generate random unique value, and I just do MD5 for that random value. If I just echo this value and I see what's going on, so well, it's will not show correctly. I will copy it and put it after the form so I would see it in the page. So now if I just go to my local, I just click enter, I will see this random value generated. I click again, see again different random value, again different value. My idea is everyone, when he requests a page, what I will do, I will generate random value. I will generate random value for that page, and I make sure any form submission coming from that page to have that random value. Okay, again, what I will do, any request for any page, I generate random value for that page. Then any submission coming back from that page, I make sure that page have that value. Otherwise, I will ignore that request and assume this one is not coming from same request, coming from different request. Like, what I will do is this. I say, okay, this is not big deal. And instead, using token, I will define a session, save my variable as in session. Okay, and I name this session as a token. And now after I save it in the token, I save my session in the token. Make sure I have a start session in the header. So I hope I have a start session in the header. So yeah, I have a start session in the header. So otherwise I don't need to have a problem. So now I have a token. Then what I will do after I get that token, and I make sure to add as a input field here, hidden field. So if you see here, I have a hidden field. I would just same this hidden field. I define another hidden field, input. This way, the type for this input will be hidden, and the name will be csrf, and the value will be whatever I have in this token, this guy, whatever I have here. Okay, I'll tell you what. Now what I did, I just generate random value and I add this random value on the form. Okay, I make sure just print it for debugging. So if I just now reload the page, whenever the pages get reloaded, if I do inspect, I see there is field in the form here. If you see here, to have that random value, csrf. If I just reload the page again, that form have different value. Now I want to make sure this value, when someone clicks submit, I have the exactly same value that I have in the page. So what I will do is this. I'll go back here. Before I do, I make sure I say, hey, if there is a post request, if you see here, there is a where this is the way of we do post, is that right? I say, okay, if it post, if the process is post, I mean there is a post, so I could do it in this way. If it is post, I think this one will work. Then I will check. I say, hey, if the value that I have it in this field, csrf, so I say if the post for this value in the field is similar to what I have in the token session, that's mean, hey, I'm good to go. Okay, echo, it's good. We're good. We don't have any problem. We're good. Otherwise, that's mean if it's not equal, just return and echo something like echo not valid request. That's mean I need to make sure any request, any post coming, the post value for csrf token is, if it's not same my token, just go back. If it's not post request, that's fine. If it's get request, someone getting, I will create token and put it in this machine. I just want to make sure if it is there's a post request. I could do it in this way. If it's post, I just make sure there's a, well, I think I'm good. So now I create submit form. So now if I want to send money for Jenna with $2, okay, and I click send, the server will not have any problem. Just process it normally because the server checks, say, okay, the value that in the form is exactly what I generate in that session, so we are good to go. Now you may think, you say, okay, how I could do this? Now if someone just attack this page, okay, view page source, well, this is not forum submission, make sure just click on it again, not forum, view page source. And now when we go here and someone try to copy this form and do same what we did before, I'll just copy the content of the form because we have the form already. So now think about this guy. He took this form content and he want to apply the attack again. Now he cannot guess what the ID that I have it. This ID for his page, not for my page, because I'm doing same attack and not attack. This is for his page. So if I assume I'm Jenna, okay, so if I am Jenna, I will assume I will refresh the page, or if I'm admin or someone, I'm just refreshing the page. So now that ID is went. Okay, I'm just refreshing different page. If I just refresh the page, that ID is gone. That ID is no longer there. So now I'm assuming he tried to attack someone, valid user. Now he want to send money. He will not able to, because if I just try to send to admin, for example, $1, if I click send, I should not be able to. Hopefully I should not be able to. Now if I just go here, oh yeah, well, I will able because this page I had not uploaded in the server. I just make sure I put it in the server. So I go here and make sure go to my csrf token, this guy, this one with the name of csrf. Just I need to update the URL, and I need to go now, and in my code this one should be csrf, and the page now I'm loading in the server should be the one has csrf, because previously he was, because that was page already attacked. So now I have this page. Now if I just go refresh the page, where is it? Yep, this is not local. I want to go to my local page. So now if I just want to send money to admin with the $22, click send, what I get, oh, I don't know why I'm getting that page again and again. Which page I'm submitting to? A view page source. I don't know why he sent the code for the same form. Why he sent it to this one? He should send it to my activity csrf. Well, I didn't click save. I should click save to do it. So now I could do it again. I would suppose this time it will work. I'm sending to admin $23. I click send. It should reject it. He say, hey, unexpected, not valid request. You did not send me a valid request. I reject your request. So the idea behind csrf token, if someone want to attack your form, make sure, it's not want to attack your form. This is standard code. So make sure you follow this standard in your code. Make sure on every page, every form submit, you add this line and have a token, and whenever anyone refresh the page, that token will regenerate it again with different values, so no one could do csrf token. Now for sure, if you want to try the test on just your Chrome, you will be able to do that attack because you do it in yourself, but try to do it from two different machines, two different accounts. You will never able to do it. You will not. Why? Because the ID is changed. Every call for the page, the ID will be changed. Whenever anyone call the page, ID get changed. So that's my idea. Hopefully it was clear for you. Thank you for watching and see you next. Hey again. Let me talk in this video about denial of service. What we mean by denial of service? Denial of service means the server is no longer able to serve more clients because there is many requests coming to the server. So if you have a server and you have 100,000 of requests, your server is not able to handle all these requests. So when there is a new request coming, you have to wait in the queue, then it will not be served, and that case mean denial of service. I'm not able to serve you anymore. Unfortunately, this is a really popular problem and really hard to solve in real world. So there's two solutions to solve this problem. Either distribute the request across multiple machines, like you have multiple machines, and when you have a request coming, you distribute them. That's what the big company does, like Google and Amazon and so on. Or define your detection system. What detection system do is detect if there's many requests coming from a specific client, try to block it. But the denial of service doesn't have to happen because someone attack you. Denial of service could happen because there's many requests coming to your server because you are serving a lot of clients. How to apply denial of service? Really easy things. Just like run a script that sends multiple requests to the server. Just build a simple script, and the script just sending a request to the server using any language you like. So when the server get many requests in small amount of time, the server will break. It's no longer to response. But don't try this with the bigger places, so you will be sued. So yeah, this is the basic thing behind the denial of. Hey again, let me talk in this video about server fingerprinting. So this is a way for attacker to know what type of server you're running, what's the operating system in the server, and all the application running in the server. So this way, when attacker is able to get this information about your system, he will able to go just to the community and look for vulnerabilities in that thing. For example, if there is a vulnerability in Apache, for example, 1.x, he will go and just apply the attack on your server and he will easily success. Even you are highly secured, but the problem not with you, the problem with Apache. So how to solve this problem? The solution for this problem, just follow the community news and see whenever there's any vulnerability coming and any updates, try to update your server. This is your solution. There is no other way to solve this problem. If you are an attacker, all what you need to do, just read the news and see what type or what the servers have vulnerability, then go scan the servers and find information about them. There's different way to get information about the server. The very easy one, when you just click inspect, for example, and you try to send a request to any server, you would know what the server there by looking through the network. You will be able to see what the type of server is running there, and many things else you could do. For example, here, if I just go here, I see there is a server, so the server is Apache 2.4. So if there is a problem with Apache 2.4, someone could attack the server and maybe my online banking will no longer work anymore. So this attack is not on the developer code, it's happened on the environment for web development. Are we done? Thank you for watching and see you next.